Before you can make Nellie's soda bread, you have to do two things to prepare. One, get a 9-inch loaf pan and spray it with non-stick baking spray. Number two, you get a cup of raisins, put them in a pot, cover them with water, bring them to a boil. As soon as it boils, kill the heat, soak them in that hot water for 10 minutes, then drain them and set them aside for later. Let's make some bread. Okay, here we are with Jim McLaughlin. We're going to make some soda bread. Tell me about this recipe.
This is an old family recipe from my mother-in-law, which she brought from Ireland when she came here many years ago.
All right, and what are the ingredients?
The ingredients are unbleached flour, 3 cups, baking powder, 4½ teaspoons, baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of sugar, some caraway seeds, and 1 3/4 cup buttermilk, and 1 cup of raisins.
And the caraway seeds, I'm surprised, is like 10 seeds.
Actually, they're optional. We're going to preheat the oven to 375 with the rack in the middle of the oven. Add the baking powder.
To the flour, right?
Right. The baking soda and salt. 1/2 cup of sugar. A sprinkle of caraway. This is optional. Whisk dry ingredients together until mixed together well. Okay. The raisins which have been covered with water, brought to a boil, cooled and drained. Whisk this all together until all the raisins are coated with flour. Add the buttermilk. I'm not going to pour in all the buttermilk right away because if it's too dry, I need to add a little buttermilk. Mix this till we get a workable dough. Be careful that it's not too wet or too dry.
Okay.
If it's too wet, we add a little flour. If it's too dry, we add a little buttermilk. I'll use my bowl scraper to mix further. It's a handy tool. This is a little wet, so I'll add some flour.
And how do you determine that it's too wet? It doesn't look wet to me.
It is wet. See, it's wet there. That's coming together nicely now. Not too wet and not too dry. Now I'm going to turn it out onto a floured board. I'm going to knead this lightly now with floured hands. Use my scraper to turn it.
Do you need a scraper?
Well, it helps.
could use a spatula, I guess, couldn't you, for that?
Well, the scraper is very handy. Just want to work this till it comes to a workable dough. Try not to overwork it. That looks good. Put it into our prepared pan. Pat it down. Fill in all the crevices. Score the loaf with a knife. A couple of zigzag scores.
What does that do?
It helps to raise up neat, picturesquely. Okay, now this is ready for the oven.
So how long do we cook?
45 minutes.
At 375.
Okay.
Middle rack.
Correct.
What do you do while it's baking?
I sit. Waiting for the bread to bake. Okay. Our time is up.
Beautiful.
Test it with a toothpick. Comes out clean. Perfect. Dump it out. Cover it with a towel. Let it cool. Serve it with butter. Any leftover is very good toasted with butter.